The hearing will come to order. And as a first note of business, I'd like to note that if you disrupt the proceedings of the committee, you will be arrested and you will be banned for 12 months from this committee. I don't know who picked 12 months, but that sounds appropriate. Second, a note that the full title of this subcommittee is Western Hemisphere, Transcontinental Crime, Civilian Security, Democracy, Human Rights, and Global Women's Issues. While the subcommittee's focus is on the Western Hemisphere, we also have jurisdiction over global health rights and democracy. And Ranking Member Kane and I will be holding some hearings this Congress on the topic of global human rights and democracies, such as this one. 5 years ago, the Chinese Communist Party imposed the so-called National Security Law on Hong Kong, an act that marked the end of one country, two systems, and culminated in the full-scale dismantling of Hong Kong's freedoms, rule of law, and judicial independence. Last year, Hong Kong doubled down on its repression and enacted the Article 23 law, a sweeping expansion of the national security law that introduces dangerously vague offenses like external interference and state secrets, punishable by life in prison. This hearing is not just about an anniversary, it's about the people whose lives have been reshaped by the loss of liberty and the warning their story sends to the rest of the world. We meet today to reaffirm a bipartisan truth. Human rights do not end where the reach of the CCP begins. The United States has a moral obligation to stand firmly with those in Hong Kong whose voices have been silenced, whose rights have been stripped, and whose future has been thrown into uncertainty by the Chinese Communist Party. In the years since 2020, I've watched as courageous Hong Kongers have been arrested, exiled, and silenced. Courageous Hong Kongers like Jimmy Lai prove the CPP's fears of free voices. Mr. Lai has spent the last 4.5 years largely in solitary confinement. Authorities are so threatened by his image that the last photo of him, taken 2 years ago by an AP photographer, led to that photographer's expulsion from Hong Kong. Since then, guards have used umbrellas, tarps, and even boarded up windows to keep the world from seeing him. I've watched as judges, once seen as guardians of an impartial legal system, have become enforcers of Beijing's repression. Let's be honest, what was once an imperial legal system is now used as a political tool, twisting the law not to protect rights, but to erase them. That's why I introduced the Hong Kong Sanctions Act in the House to push for sanctions on those in the judicial system responsible for the deterioration of freedom. As if to prove my point, Hong Kong prosecutors responded to this bill by pushing a warrant for my arrest in Hong Kong. I'm proud to have joined with Senator Sullivan and my fellow subcommittee member, Senator Merkley, in reintroducing this bill in the Senate. And in the face of this, I have a message for those who believe that threats and arrest warrants from 8,000 miles away will intimidate us into silence. They won't. We will not be silenced. The louder the CCP tries to shut us down, the firmer our resolve becomes to defend freedom in Hong Kong and anywhere it is under siege. Years ago, I spent time in Hong Kong and saw firsthand a city alive with energy, enterprise, and freedom. Now, instead of a beacon of liberty, Hong Kong has become a key node in a global network that assists Russia and other adversaries in evading sanctions, money laundering, and circumventing export controls. To crack down on Hong Kong's status as a money launderer and sanctions evasion hub, I've introduced the Stop CCP Money Laundering Act. The struggle for democracy and human rights in Hong Kong is not over, and this subcommittee will continue to shine a spotlight on the abuses and advocate for accountability and action. With that, I now recognize the distinguished ranking member. My honor to serve with you, Senator Kane, for your remarks.